Today I've been working on an open road style hat, adding the grosgrain trim to the crown and also the liner. So come on in and have a look and see how my day's gone.
So I thought I'd give you a bit of a flavour as to what a typical day for a hatter might be. And I guess I'm not a 100% full-time hatter. I undertake commissions when they come my way. I have a website, I have a YouTube channel, and I have an eBay shop. So I do have hats, probably about 50 or 60 hats that are up for sale at any one time, and I probably have close on 100 hats that are already made here, kept at home, ready for shipping out to my clients. But on a day-to-day basis, I'm repairing hats for clients. I do get a few requests, not many, but I do get a few, and they can be anything from changing the look and feel of a Panama hat, or cleaning a fur felt hat, or reshaping a crown on a hat. Sometimes it's changing the size of a brim and cutting it down for a client, and trimming it with grosgrain on the end, on the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making a number of videos on a day-to-day basis, just to really highlight what goes on in this little tiny hat room of mine. And today I'm working on one of my open road hats. So this is a PJ Murphy open road, and it's a hat that's made out of 170 gram 100% rabbit fur felt. It's a Fepsa felt, so it's a very good quality felt. And it's, the nice thing I like about it is quite lightweight. So it's not a full-blown Western weight hat. So this would be nice to wear out with a suit, or you know, just a casual jeans. But it's a nice sort of hybrid to wear as a fashion item, as well as a formal sort of formal, you know, informal work hat. So what we've done is I've actually clearly formed the hat, put the trim around the brim already, the grosgrain, and stitched all that in. I've put in the leather sweatband. As you can see, that's already been stitched all the way around, along with the little bow at the back here. And I'm in the process of taking the grosgrain, which I buy this grosgrain on 30-meter lengths. So if you're into your crafting, or you're into your hat making, then what you'll realize is that it's very expensive to buy this stuff by the meter. So buy it in bulk. And if you don't know where to buy it and you're based in the UK, reach out to me and I'll let you know who are some of the better suppliers to be buying from. But this is how they turn up on the roll. Generally, I buy them in 16mm, 25mm, 38 and 50mm. Now you can imagine I've got boxes full of this stuff, and I've probably invested a couple of £1,000 now in grosgrain, but it's always a staple that I use on most of my hats, unless I'm doing a festival hat or something where I'll put a cloth band around the crown. So I quite like doing those, to be honest with you. But anyway, let's get back to this hat. So I basically take this and I form the bow, and it is quite simple. It's getting hold of, in fact, let's show you. You undo the grosgrain, and then be generous with the length that you get off, and basically you're just folding it over to produce a bow. Here we go. You do get used to doing this over a period of time. The other thing that I can say that is done by a lot of hatters is to build a little jig. And what I mean by that is a board with a couple of usually nails on them, and you can just run the ribbon around the nails to actually form a perfect bow every time, so that it matches. But essentially we're just going to fold this over, making sure we need a little bit in the middle here, so we can actually put a stitch through it on the machine. And then once we've got to that, I always do a double bow, so I've got a bit at the end here as well, where I can actually lift it out a little bit on the hat. It just adds a little bit of style, I think. So once we've done that, I usually put a little clip on there, take it to my sewing machine. Now, unfortunately, in the house we're in at the moment, we've got a fairly large house, but it's made up of lots of small rooms. So I've got one room where I do the actual work on the hats and on the felts and things, and then I've got a sewing room which is upstairs. So I then go put a couple of stitches through here, usually on a number 2 stitch, and then we take that and we pop it around the crown of the hat, and then we can measure out and cut the remainder of the ribbon off. So then we've got a length of ribbon which is ideal to go onto the hat. Once we've done that, then what we're doing is we're cutting another chunk of ribbon, this chunk here, which is a straight piece, folding it over and then stitching it down. And what I mean by that is, not the stitching, because you know what stitching is, it's basically taking this and then folding it over to get, yeah, you can see that now, can't you? And then I stitch down there, and then that goes underneath the actual the bow here, and then there's a little bit that I make and stitch to actually keep it all in place. Now you can see that that's actually quite nicely in place now. So what you got to remember is that with grosgrain, when you put some heat on it and steam on it, it shrinks. And so what we do is we first of all pin it onto the hat. So we're going around the crown of the hat here, and I'm usually pinning it so that it's just, if you can think of, you've got the brim here and you've got the crown here. Now I'm bringing it down so that it just goes down this curvature down here, rather than going into there, it's going down slightly here. And the reason for that is that when you put a bit of steam on it, it shrinks up, and what you don't want it to do is to show the stitching where you've actually stitched the leather sweatband to the crown of the hat. Okay, now where we are right now, and today's job is for me to take my trusty roll of twine here, cotton. It's the Gutterman thread. In fact, it's probably polyester, to be honest with you. Yeah, polyester. And by hand, I will then sew this band onto the hat. So what we've got is we've got a couple of points around the square here that I normally do 4 tacking points in there and go through twice on each of them, so that it keeps all of that grosgrain intact around the bow. It's just so much better, because over time, you know, there could be some usage on this hat, which means that you know, these get tugged and you don't want it falling out of place and being sent back. So that's what I do there. And then every about 2 inches, I suppose, I go through the centre here and put a stitch through all the way around the band until I get to this side, and then finally finish it off around here. So that's probably going to take me about 20 minutes. So I'll get on and do that, and then I'll come back on camera and show you the end result. So that's typical for the sort of work I do actually making hats of a day. And then I think I've got a Good Luke's video, YouTube video to go on at about 3 or 4 o'clock today. So there'll be that, where I'll go on and answer a few questions and be part of the scene on that, if you like, talking about hats. Anybody that is interested in hats is very welcome to either come on to the show or to listen to the show live, and that's Good Luke's. It's usually on a Tuesday and a Friday, and in the UK it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on the time of year. At the moment it's 3 o'clock, and goes on for about an hour. Sometimes it's really quite interesting, other times it can be quite boring because I'll be talking, but anyway, you'd be welcome to come and join us. And on from that, I'm just working on trying to find a few country music singers at the moment here in the UK that may well want some sponsorship on hats, and I'd be pleased to make them a hat or two for them to link up onto my website and me onto their website, and promote the fact that I am making Western style hats here in the UK out of high quality felts. Anyway, I'll explain that a bit better on another video. So here we are. I've now done the tacking of the grosgrain around the crown of the hat. So I'm going to put some steam on it and see what happens. So we're all steamed up. Let's see what we can do. So You probably can't see this, but the cross grain is actually shrinking down so that I get a better fit around the crown, which is always lovely to see. Yeah, a little bit on here, just shrink it down. There we go. It's tricky to be able to show what I'm doing. Just introduce a little bit of steam into the gros grain, and there is a very nice fit to the gros grain. So now what I've got to do next is just press that down. There we are. And then with the scissors, just chop off these ends. So I'll leave that for just a second, but I always pre-make these liners. So I buy the embroidery done locally, and then I cut out the oval shape, and then I stitch on these sides, and I do reinforce them with this sort of backing material, really to give it some firmness inside the hat. But I tend to leave them so they're not sewn in, and the only reason that is so that people can take them out and wash them if they want to, or give them a wipe over or something. Or in the summertime, on some of the hats they can get too hot, and if you've got a thinner felt hat from me, then you can take the liner out, and actually it's a bit cooler in the summer. And all we do is we just turn it over, line up the join here with the actual rear of the hat, pop it in, and then what I do is ease it around the hat shape. Now, a lot of hatters put in the liner before they actually shape the crown, and in fact I do when I'm doing something like a fedora. It's a lot easier than when I'm doing a cattleman crease, especially when the actual felt is a lot stiffer. So it's going to take a little while to do this, so I will come off camera and do it and show you when it's finished. And there we are, we've got a liner. The light's a little bit difficult to show you there, but a liner inside of the hat all ready to go, and all I've got to do now is just trim off these edges. And there it is, it's finished, and it's a size 58. It'll be going up for sale shortly. Very nice PJ Murphy open road fedora hat. But that's about it for today. I'm as usual, I'm doing things like editing videos for my YouTube channel. I try to get up to a week of those, so that's what I'll continue doing. But anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you no doubt in a day or two.
If you've got a passion for hats, keep watching the channel. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.